like one group of people, it's like, oh, the government, or two people arguing, it's like, the government said this, and then it's like, oh, but I heard this, you know, like, because that's what happens multiple times in the book.
Right.
I'm trying to convey that.
Are you guys discussing what you're doing now or what you need to do at the end of the week?
No, what we're doing now, yeah. We're debating because we have two morals. One, that power is corrupt, and then Peter mentioned hypocrisy. So I'm trying to get Peter's point of view.
Things
Yeah.
work together, I think.
All right.
I think it's leadership's hypocrisy more than anything else that he's definitely got issues with. That people before they're in power have great ideas. If you think about Old Major and even what animalism was all about the whole time, animalism, aka communism, the idea on paper is a great thing, but then when people come in and take over that idea, it gets corrupted somehow, regardless of how pure the idea is when it starts. So Peter's on the right track, for sure. Okay, how are we doing here? I love that you have a picture that you're copying. So what is your word? What is your device? Satire. And what are you depicting?
We're gonna put the seven commandments to animals row.
Okay. Well, how does that demonstrate the satire of the situation? Remembering what satire is and what it's supposed to do.
We were trying to reform their society that they created, so.
Okay. And remember that it's Orwell that you're imposing on all of this. So how is the Seven Commandments evidence of Orwell's use of satire? Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Just make sure it's clear in the depiction.
Does it have religious connotations?
What?
The Seven Commandments?
There are religious connotations throughout the text. Moses, the raven, represents the Russian Orthodox Church. At the time, we're going to talk more deeply about the character representations later, but Sugar Candy Mountain, for example, kind of like think about the next life instead of the life you're in right now. And there's a lot of really deep stuff going on for such an easy book. You know, so it functions on lots of different levels.
Thank you.
How are we doing over here? You guys got allegory?
Yes.
So what is your understanding of the term?
It is a story of home or a picture revealing the hidden meaning.
Okay, and basically that's the entire novel, the genre. So what specifically are you using to depict your understanding of allegory and how Orwell uses it?
So we use Napoleon as the ruler, and then Boxer bowing down saying Napoleon's always right, which is what happened during communism.
His leadership in the book mimics Stalin.
Right.
And they end up acting like humans, which is what they're trying to avoid happening here.
So that totally works, especially if you know the Russian history.
I do.
And what's going on with the government. Because it's a direct allegory of the Russian Revolution. That's exactly what Trotsky and Stalin, and then Lenin, and Marx is in there with Old Major at the beginning, and there are lots of characteristics that mimic it directly, and then the lead up to World War II with the other European powers that are addressed as well. So it's all about leadership and power and what happens when there's too much of it.
It's exactly like 1984.
Well, Orwell does have some issues with governments in general and how they abuse power. So there is definitely a theme throughout all of it. So it looks like you guys are ready to start drafting on the document. Is there a particular scene you're going to take from the text to draw on that image from the chapter that you're working on?
You can think about it. We'll look through the book.
I mean, we could. I'm saying we could draw like him in his house, like relaxing, right?
That's not a specific scene.
And then
By the time he's already inside wearing clothes and living in a bed and
then Squealer would be telling everyone that's okay if he does it.
Oh, and could you change the commandments?
Yeah. He's saying, well, you know, he works so hard, he's allowed to do whatever he wants. Kind of.
Right, which would be the direct change between what communism was supposed to be when old major and now it escalated to something. Because remember, allegory is what you're trying to show is that connection, and how Orwell uses the real history as the connection between the texts. That's what you're trying to do.
Before and after with Marx, and then with I'll split with like old major leading all of them.
How are we doing over here? Which one do you guys have? Fable?
Fairy tale.
Fairy tale. So before we start writing, you guys should probably have your notebooks out and you should jot down your ideas before you start. Okay, so what are we showing?
We're gonna show a picture of the animals, how they act human, but then not really. In real life, they don't do that.
Okay, remember the focus of the political cartoon is to show how Orwell uses the device to convey a particular meaning. So what you might want to think about is, why did Orwell choose to tell a story about farm animals instead of just flat out redepicting the reality of the truth? And I have to, your name, I sent the email before I got the name on it, so I'll put you in a group and let you know in a couple minutes where you are.
Oh, okay.
We have to find something from the text.
How are we doing
that's
here?
relevant.
Symbolism,
We
right?
plan on using Napoleon to represent power, and the sheep to represent following. We're going to be drawing Napoleon as a sort of shepherd representation of Stalin, and the sheep will just be his followers.
Right, and what you might even want to depict in that as well, you know how on the political cartoons that you guys were looking at, the small details, using evidence from the text that Orwell said, like why did he choose sheep, and why did he choose, like...
That's the idea, that's why we're going to draw him as a shepherd, not just a Stalin.
How are we doing here?
Good.
Yep.
Yeah, we're
It's a scary word, but it's really
Simple.
Yeah.
It's just trying to figure out which
what we
like
want
which
to
one.
right, which animal,
Yeah.
which
There's a lot.
characteristic.
Yeah,
It's
I
all over the place.
Yeah, so we think Napoleon.
Yeah, we want to.
Everybody loves Napoleon.
I hate
No,
him
I actually
so
don't
much.
like
Meg just hates.
I was so mad at
Snowball.
Snowball
I love
left.
Snowball. It was
I
really
like Boxer.
upsetting. I cried. I actually started crying.
When they took him away and he realized he was going to die
Yeah.
and tried to get out.
I hated that part.
And Steeler, I hate him too.
I don't hate him.
I hate him.
He just
No.
annoyed me.
No, I hate him.
There's something about it.
He was secretly evil. Like he
He's
tried.
a propaganda machine.
Yes, that's what I
Yeah.
wrote in my thing. He's propaganda.
That's exactly it. So,
Well, I didn't like him.
so you guys understand the term, and now it's just choosing what you're going to illustrate. Remember, the bigger thing is not just showing your understanding, but showing why Orwell chose to use this device to convey the meaning that's in there. So, why pigs? Why animals?
Okay.
Something you might want to think about.
I left my bottle in the last
You can't always do that. Yeah, just you need a pass. All right, how are we doing over here?
Good. We found what we're doing.
Okay, tell me what your thing is. Your
So we have irony.
okay.
So
We were gonna do like they say 4 legs good, 2 legs bad. So we were gonna do the pigs walking on 2 feet, but then we found all men are enemies, and at the end they all gamble together with like the people. So
Yeah, that last scene is kind of chilling. Okay, so then remember the overriding message in the political cartoon also has to be, why did Orwell depict it that way? Why is irony something he's using to show the message? And I think the last scene is a perfect choice because it basically sums up everything that just happened with all the animals standing at the window kind of watching it go down.
So how are we supposed to show why Orwell did this?
I think if you show that last scene and you show the animals at the window and there's some caption that
Okay.
kind of relays back to why this last scene is so ironic, it'll directly speak to the message that Orwell is sending with the irony of the moment. Okay?
Thanks, Rapper.
When he comes back. How we doing here?
Good.
Yeah.
You like my pig?
I love him. I'm such a bad artist. I appreciate
Yeah, same.
We know how to direct it, but she knows how to draw it.
Okay, so what's your understanding of allusion and what are you choosing and
And the allusion is something that refers like something explicitly. So we're gonna choose like the Stalin and Napoleon. We're gonna put them on the podium.
so right,
Like a
so
hint
why,
toward-
why do you think Orwell uses Napoleon to depict Stalin? Because that's really the message you're
That's what-
sending by the with the political cartoon, right?
They both think.
And it's
Both
because
believe that's
both
something.
led the same
Yeah.
role. As Napoleon led it in Animal Farm, and then Stalin in Soviet
And they
Russia.
both, they weren't, they were all scared of like a lot of the people like they were dictators. They were scared of political
They didn't seem to
power, which is the
question
main
them
theme.
for what they were
Because I think that if you question them, you end up dead.
doing. Yeah.
Exactly. So it's political
never
power.
scared.
That's why the pigs were so distant from the entire people.
But
throughout
not at the
entire
beginning. In the
Not in the
beginning,
beginning,
they are-
exactly.
they were
They were
equal.
all among, and then they.
I guess that's how they like persuaded them.
We gotta see what the Soviet War.
That's how the Soviet
It's like everybody, this strategy worked out well today. The kids actually had the opportunity to